Welcome to Teacher N Piano Studio. Today we'll be going through ABRSM Grade 6 Question 1. This is from the 2021 exam paper. For question 1, we approach this question by first identifying the key. So in this question, we can see that there are 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. So it's likely in the E flat major key or C minor. So how do we know if this is in the major key or the minor key? If there are no accidentals in the melody, it is likely to be in the major key. And we check that it ends on a tonic, which means that it's the home key. And in this question, we can see that it ends on the E flat. And there are no accidentals in the melody. Therefore, it is in the E flat major key. Step 2, let's identify the cadence. Music is a language. The melody is made up of sentences, which we call phrase. Try singing it in solfege to hear where the phrases are. During the exam, there's no instrument for you to try. So in this case, we will sing out the solfege so that we can hear where the cadences are, or what we call the end of the sentence. So this is in E flat major. E flat will be your do. So try singing out your scale in this way. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. At your comfort range. And we can start singing to the melody. So to sing this melody, it goes like this. Do being the E flat. And you can write out the solfege on your exam paper. Right? So if do is E flat, your mi, we can count from here. Do, re, mi. And coming down to E flat, do. And then to B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do, re, mi, fa, sol. So now we can sing this melody to your comfort range. We need not be at the perfect pitch. Alright? So it goes like this. Do, 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 mi, do, sol. Do, ti, sol, la, sol, mi. Mi, sol, mi, fa, mi, re, do. Right, so this is how your cadences will look like. Mark them down very lightly on the exam question. Why is this important? Because at the end of each phrase, we like to form a cadence. In grade 5, we have already learned 3 different types of cadences: the perfect cadence, imperfect cadence, and plagal cadence. Let's do a quick recap. Perfect cadence is from chord 5 to 1. It sounds like a full stop. Imperfect cadence are chord 1 to 5, or 2 to 5, or 4 to 5. It sounds like a comma. Plagal cadence is 4 to 1. It's a musical full stop as well. Or you can sing it like this. Amen. The new cadence in grade 6 is interrupted cadence, sounding like an exclamation mark, chord 5 to chord 6. Play it to hear it. Now that we have identified all the cadences, let's list down all the chords in E flat major. In E flat major chord 1, we have E flat, G, B flat. Chord 2 is F, A flat, C. And this being a minor chord, we denote it with a lowercase. Chord 2. Chord 3, G, B flat, D. It's a G minor chord. So again, in small letters. Chord 4, A flat, C, E flat is an A flat major chord. So with uppercase. Chord 5, B flat D F is a major chord. So uppercase. Chord 6, C E flat G is a minor chord in lowercase. And chord 7, D F A flat is a diminished chord. So with this small little symbol over here. Alright, now that we have listed all the chords in E flat major, let's go back to the question and list down all the chords that matches the melody. So you can have your working at the side. And over here, the main melody, we have this in bar 1, E flat and G. And you can see that there's a horizontal dash over here, which means that the chord will last till the end of G before it changes to another chord. Or it could be the same chord in different version. So E flat. And we're going to list down all the chords that matches the melody, and it comprises of E flat and G. In this case, chord 1 satisfy the requirement. Chord 2, F A flat C, no. Chord 3, G B flat D, no. Chord 4, A flat C E flat, no. Chord 5, B flat D F, no. Chord 6 could be possible. It has got E flat and G as well. So let's indicate that in. And then for the next one, this melody is only an E flat. And so we can have chord 1, chord 4 could be possible since there's only one note, and also a chord 6. Next bar 2, we have B flat, so chord 1 is probable. And then chord 3 has B flat, and also probably a chord 5. We list out all the chords in this manner for the entire question. All right, so this will be the workings for the rest of the melody. You can check your answer against mine. Now that we have all the chords listed for the melody, we have to choose the versions, or what we call the inversions, for the melody. So there are a few rules that we have to adhere to in order for a smooth transition from chord to chord. All right, so right now we are writing what we call the grammar of music. Okay, rule number 1, always aim for contrary motion if possible. So the melody moves, for example, in step up motion, then the bass will be moving in a downward motion, contrary motion scale. Okay, rule number 2, for parallel motion, if you like to have them moving in the same direction, then let's aim for the third or a sixth apart. Okay, you may choose the same chords but use a different inversion when moving from a strong to weak beat. And from a weak to strong beat, we try not to use the same chord. The rule number 4, use root or A position chords at cadences. We try to always attain that, especially for the ending. Rule number 5, for diminished chords, we use the first or B inversion. For ending, use 1B, 5C, 1A, or what we call the passing 6/4, or 1C, 5A, 1A, the cadential 6/4, as much as possible. in minor key. A chord 3, whether it's using the harmonic minor version or the melodic minor version, is always an augmented chord. It sounds very, very awful. So we avoid using a chord 3 augmented, and we always use chords from the harmonic minor scale unless the melody has a raised 6th and 7th next to each other. We use chords from the melodic minor. How will these chords move in the bass to the next? I've listed down in this table. If you're in a root position chords, that means if we use a A version chords, the next chord or the next bass that we move up to must follow in this order, and I've actually ranked them in the order that we use them or consider them. So it always moves up a fourth, down a fifth. Either ways, they will end up with the same note, right? The bass always steps up, never down, unless it's from a chord 6A to a 5A. And root position chords will usually like to move up a third from a strong to weak beat. If it's moving from a weak to strong beat, then you can consider using down a third. First inversion chords, or what we call the B version, similar like the A version, it likes to move up a fourth, down a fifth. There's a strong pull in the bass. Besides moving up a step, now the B version chords can move down a step. Second inversion chords, there are a few 6/4s that we have learned, right? So if possible, use them. The passing 6/4, cadential 6/4, auxiliary 6/4, the pedal 6/4, and the arpeggiated 6/4. All right, now we've got the rules in place. We can choose the chords and their versions over here. Okay, in this mu score, I've indicated a bass where we need to make changes as we go along in choosing the chords. So at the moment, I've indicated all as E flat, and we'll amend as we go along. Okay, so looking at the first phrase, we would like to aim for a cadence over here. And this being we can choose chord 1 or 5. So I would prefer this to be an imperfect cadence so that we have a comma here. So remember that at cadences, we aim for a root position. So I would like this to be a 5A, and 5A would be a B flat. Okay, we would like to establish the key, and over here we have an anacrusis, or what we call the upbeat. And over here, as much as possible, we will aim for a 1A so that we are give this a sense of a key. So we're in E flat major, 1A. And over here, if I've chosen a 5A, okay, we can go from a 1 to a 5A as an imperfect cadence, 4 to a 5A. So over here, let's take a look. From E flat, the rule states that for the A version, it's best to go with up a fourth, down a fifth. So let's try it out. E, F, G, A. If I go up a fourth, I land on an A. So if you're in chord 4, A version, that will give you a A flat, C, E flat. So this works perfectly fine. And from an A version, always up a step, never down. So to give you a clearer sense, A flat steps up to B flat. All right, so we have the first cadence done. So the chords that we've chosen over here is 1A, 4A, and 5A. Now for the second cadence or the phrase, we are targeting towards this G. And let's take a look at the chords that we have. Over here, we have a 5 to 1, which means that we could possibly end on a perfect cadence, 5 to 1. That's a full stop. Or we could also go with a 5 to a 6. That's an interrupted cadence. That will give it an exclamation mark effect. So over here, I would like to choose the interrupted cadence. So chord 6 is a C bass. And I have both selected it as a 5A to a 6A version. All right. Then over here, before the chord 5, remember up a fourth, down a fifth. So there's a lot of trial and error going on over here. Up a fourth means that we are now on a F bass. If it's a F bass, we would choose say chord 2, right? Chord 4 doesn't have a F. The chord is A flat, C, E flat. And if it's a chord 6, it's a C, E flat, G. So let's trial and error to see what works. From a 2A, 5A to a 6A. And then over here, up a step, never down. But if you notice, there is a F to a C. From the bass to a melody, this is already a fifth apart. So to avoid the fifth apart, we would ideally want to look at the melody is stepping up from a B flat to C. So if we also have this as an E flat and stepping up, we would produce what we call a consecutive fifth. And when we are doing question 1, we will want to avoid having a consecutive fifth and eighth between the voices, right? So to avoid that, we can aim for a contrary motion. So if we have a G bass, it means that we are using a chord 1B, chord 3. If we're using a G bass, it will be a 3A, and chord 5 doesn't have a G bass. So these are the options. We can go from a 1B to a 2A. Okay, so what makes sense if you follow the rule? 1B can step up, it can step down. So over here, we can see that G step down to F. But if it's a chord 3A, 3A, A version always step up, never down. So in this case, 3A doesn't work. So 1B will be my answer. Okay, and then from here we work backwards from the cadence, and we have a D. So a D skip down. So over here, this being an upbeat again. So let's see if a chord 5 works, because ideally when we are choosing our chords, I will give priority over the primary triads, which means it's a chord 1, chord 4, chord 5. Okay, and as we do trial and error in selecting the chords, in this sense, the other two, like chord 3 and chord 7, they are what we call the secondary chords. I will probably give priority to chord 5. So chord 5, if we are using an A version, which means that we are on a B bass, B flat bass. So A version can skip up, we can also skip down. This is a strong to a weak beat. Strong to weak beat can skip down a third, right? So B flat to G, there's a skip, and I think it works perfectly fine, no problem. Right, so over here we have this as if we choose this as a chord 1A. 1A means that we are on a E flat bass, up a fourth, down a fifth. Over here we have chosen chord 5A. So up a fourth, E, F, G, A, it will end on A flat. So probably not a chord 1A. How about if we choose a 1B? 1B would be on a G bass. G bass up a third. Okay, this is a weak beat, and a weak beat goes to a strong beat. We usually skip down. Okay, skip up is only from a strong to weak beat. So the chord 1B probably doesn't work. 1C has got its own, we have a few 6/4s that we can use. But in this case, I would not choose a 1C version, right? Since 1C version will land on a B flat bass, and it will be the same as the next chord, right? So probably not a chord 1. So over here, let's take a look at chord 4. Chord 4, if I choose a A bass, it means that we are on a A flat. A flat steps up to B flat, and that works perfectly fine. So this will be my answer that I've chosen for the second phrase, chord 4A, 5A, 1B, 2A, 5A, and then we end off on an interrupted cadence to 6A. Right, for the last cadence that we're approaching, we'd like to end off on a chord 1A. And for ending, we'd like to try the two different methods, 1C, 5-1, or 1B, 5C1. Okay, so this has got a descending bass in the melody. So let's take a look if this works. 1A in a E flat, and then 5C will be F bass, and then a 1B. Right, whenever it's a step down, it seems like a passing 6/4. Stepping down or stepping up looks like a passing 6/4. So if I've chosen this ending 1B, 5C, 1A, like a passing 6/4, what do you notice about the melody and the bass is that it's moving together in the same manner, G, F, and E flat. So this creates a consecutive 8, consecutive 8, and consecutive 8. And this is not ideal for question 1, right? So 1B, 5C, 1A doesn't work in this case. And let's explore the other ending that we would like to have. It will be 1C, 5, 1. 5 will be a B bass, and then 1C will also be a B bass. And there you have, we can have this sounding like this. All right, so in this case, we are using the cadential 6/4. So working backwards in this way, we have a 1C over here, and remember, up a fourth, down a fifth. So if we're aiming for upper fourth, we are going from F, and if that's the case, we will have a 2A, and diminished chord can be utilized over here as well to add some color, since this is a secondary chord. Okay, so chord 7 is D, F, A flat, and if we've chosen chord 7, it will be a chord 7B version. And remember, diminished chords, we use a B version. So over here, it'd be ideal. All right, so let's put this tentatively like this, and we'll come back to see if the chords that I've chosen before this works, right? So this being a diminished chord with a F bass up a fourth, right? So over here, if we are going by steps up, then we have an E flat bass, which means that this will be a 1A. Chord 3 doesn't work if it's an E flat bass. Chord 6 will be a 6B. Okay? Other ways it would work, right? So this 1A to a 2A, 1C works. If it's a 1A to a chord 7, with this bass moving a step, and then up a fourth or down a fifth, it also works. So we have some options here. All right. And then over here, the last chord that we need to pen in, this is a strong beat to a weak beat. So strong beat to a weak beat. Remember, if you're going to choose a 1A over here, it means that we can't have a 1A version here as well, because then it serves no purpose to have two stars and we are using the same chord. So if you're going to choose a 1A over here, then we can have a 1B, okay, so that we can attain this G bass then, right? So that there's a different version of the same chord, and there's a G version with the G bass here. It means that we are choosing a 3A, but not a chord 5. So let's check. From a strong beat to a weak beat, it falls a third. Yes, it works. Right? From a strong beat to a weak beat, it can fall a third. And then over here, up a step from the A version, up a fourth, down a fifth. And then we have your cadential 6/4 ending pretty nicely here. Okay? So your answer will be 1B. I can go to 1A. And then over here, we can go to either 2A or 7 diminished B version, then 1C, 5A, 1A. And with all the chords and the bass written out, this is likely what the examiner hear. And of course, if your answer differs, don't worry, because if you're going to follow the rules as what I've covered in how the versions move, there are multiple answers to question 1. All right, so remember, we are aiming for cadences and working our way through this question. If you like my video, subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you again.